Hello there, Ben Bowers, the Spirit Specialist, and I am here today to talk to you about the English whisky bottling for the Platinum Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II, a very limited edition celebration bottling from the English whisky. I have one bottle left. I didn't get many. There weren't many available in the UK at all. So this is a run of 3,000 bottles, of which only 1,200 were available in the UK. And it looks to have sold out absolutely everywhere already. I got some in and they disappeared very quickly. This is actually, aside for a customer who's coming in to pick it up, it's the last one that I've got. Very attractive, kind of regal purple tin that it's in as well. So I've already had quite a few people emailing me going, can you let me know if you get any more in? So for the people that either have bought a bottle and are just intending to put it at one side with all their other royal memorabilia, or for people that did want to buy a bottle and can't, hopefully I can give you some indication of what it tastes like, because I was fortunate enough to get a little sample bottle of it to try it myself. So before I tell you what the whiskey tastes like, let me give you some background information about the English Whisky Distillery, otherwise known as St George's Distillery, and the makeup of what's in here. The English Whisky Company is based at the St George's Distillery in Roundham, Norfolk, about 30 minutes southwest of Norwich. The first whisky distillery sited in England for 100 years, the Lee Valley Distillery in London was the last to operate in the country until its closure in 1905. It was founded in 2006 by father and son James and Andrew Nelstrop, who were part of generations of arable farmers but were looking to diversify their operations due to concerns with the future of the industry they'd spent years working in. Initially, Ian Henderson, previously the master distiller of Laphroaig, was brought on board to oversee operations, before being joined in 2008 and eventually replaced by the current master distiller David Fitt, who had previously been a master brewer with Green King and mentored with Ian until he was able to take over the reins. Sadly, James Nelstrop passed away in September 2014, but Andrew continues to drive the business forward with unbridled passion and enthusiasm. There is currently a core range of an unpeated original and a heavily peated smoky edition, as well as various peated and unpeated bottlings that have spent time in a variety of cask types. The English Whisky Platinum Jubilee edition is a limited run of 3,000 bottles, with only 1,200 distributed in the UK, launched to celebrate 70 years of Queen Elizabeth II at the throne. It is a marriage of unpeated whiskies that have spent time separately in ex-Bourbon, Virgin Oak, red wine and ex-sherry quarter casks. Bottled at 46% ABV, each bottle is engraved, but not individually numbered however, and presented in a bespoke regal purple gift tin. Okay, so there's no age statement on this, and in the background information I was given by the brand itself, there was, I'm going to put this down before I drop it while I try and open this thing. Oh, blimey, there we go. The blurb I was given by the English Whisky team, there's no kind of indication on the age on this as well, so I don't know what the age is, but there is a cask makeup of ex-Bourbon, Virgin Oak, red wine casks, and also Oloroso sherry, so it's, you know, there's a fair amount going on in there. Quite light, I do quite like the bottles, so these are their decanters that they use for their limited edition bottlings, which it weighs an absolute ton, but rather than labelling being put on it, we do have. And as a retailer, it's really, really awkward to kind of get pictures where you can see the signature and the inscriptions on it quite clearly. But that is basically engraved on the bottle. But we've also got this really nice, I quite like the colour of this tin as well. It's quite simple, but elegant. And it's pretty clear what it's for. Now, I'm not a royalist, the royal family, whatever. But, there are lots and lots of people that are really into the Queen and the royal family and everything like that. So this has been an incredibly high demand, and it really does look like it's just gone. That's it. I've seen one already on an auction site which has about 5 or 6 days left to go and is at 55 quid. It'll be very interesting to see what that eventually sells for. So the retail with this was £74.99 or 75 quid, but I was selling it £74.99 because I'm cheap, take a penny off, there we go. I'd be very interested to see what happens with auction sites, if there's any collectability, because Bell's decanters that were for the Charles and Diana's wedding are practically like next to nothing in terms of value. Is it one of those things where it's in really high demand now? Now is the time to sell it because there's people that want it and they'll pay anything for it and I'll make loads of money on it? Or will it be worth something in 10 years time or whatever? I don't know, because for me, the most important thing is this bit, what's inside it. So if you've got your hands on a bottle, well done, because there's not many of them around. And I'm hoping that you are going to open it and enjoy it. And if you're the sort of person that wants to raise a glass to Liz next week, this is exactly the thing that you could probably do. So let me give you an indication of what this nose is like and tastes like. So on the nose, very fresh, quite spring-like almost. It's slightly floral. There's notes of apple in there, kind of like, not Granny Smith green apple, but golden delicious apples. There's a touch of orchard fruits. It's more appley than pears and peaches and everything like that, but there is other notes of kind of, not stewed orchard fruits, but quite fresh. You know, there's a touch of conference pear in there. There's a little hint of like peach and nectarine, but apple is very much the kind of forward fruit. There's a little hint of spice as well. There's a soft spiciness. It's slightly sweet on the nose, but it's still light and fresh and quite zingy as well. That's kind of why I say golden delicious apples, which are fresh and juicy, but they're not as sharp as, say, a Granny Smith. Very light, very pleasant on the nose, very inviting, but like I say, quite not summery, more spring-like. There is a slightly floral edge. There's a slight kind of floral note of honeysuckle, and I do wonder whether this fruitiness is sort of the combination of that red wine cask as well as the virgin oak. Because it's not quite a red berry note. You could maybe say strawberries, but it's certainly not obviously that red wine influence, but there is a fruitiness to it. Okay, let's see what it's like on the palate. Initially, that fruitiness is there as well. And actually, it does become more strawberry. The red wine influence is a bit more prevalent on the palate than it was on the nose. You get not quite raspberries, but there's definitely summer pudding feel to it. That's kind of slight sweetness. It's like a strawberry trifle almost. There is a little custardy note as well. So, you know, yeah, you're getting that kind of strawberries, cream, custard, jelly, that sort of feel, which is very apt for kind of like an English celebration. You know, a strawberry trifle or raspberry trifle or a summer fruit trifle is very much an English type of pudding. What's interesting is on the finish, it actually becomes a little bit more drying. You get a little bit of an oaky touch coming through, a slight pepperiness. It's not overpowering, but it starts off soft and then kind of ramps up that drier, peppery feel to it, which I fear some people might think is a little bit, maybe, I can imagine somebody like my father-in-law, who is very much a Scotch drinker, doesn't like anything from outside of Scotland, but likes it very fruity, very smooth. Yes, father-in-law, what do you mean by smooth? But that type of flavour profile, you know, space ciders, sherried, rich, fruity. There are people that like that style of whiskey, that when they get to kind of lighter, delicate ones that have a bit of bite, they say, oh, it's a bit harsh. And I could imagine some people might try this and go, oh, it's a bit harsh, because the finish has a little bit of pepper on it. It has a little bit of drying oak, whereas it starts off quite soft and fruity. Again, it's very spring-like. It moves into summer. I do like that kind of hit at the back of the finish as well, because otherwise it would be a bit too soft and fruity. If it just carried that on, it would come across a little bit one note, a little bit flat. Now, there might be people that would enjoy that because it's quite soft and sweet and fruity, but there's no complexity about it. It would just be kind of like, yeah, it's all right, it's easy to drink, but that's it. Whereas this, it's got that youthfulness. And I know there's no age statement, but I suspect this is quite young, about 4 to 5 year old. There is a youthful vigor to it, particularly on the finish. It's very, very pleasant. It's completely unpeated spirit, so there's no element of smoke in there that's going to put anybody off, because let's face it, if you're buying this and you're going to be opening it, you're probably going to be opening it next weekend during the celebrations as a toast to the Queen. And you might have friends around. There's lots and lots, like our village, for example, lots and lots of places are doing like lunch picnic on the Sunday. Everybody's going to be out, which means it's probably going to chuck it down with rain. But the plan is for everybody to be out. There's like street parties, there's picnics, there's all sorts of lunches going on where people are going to be bringing drinks with them. There's going to be lots of people around, friends and family and strangers and all sorts of things like that. And you could quite easily bring that with you and say to everybody, hey, look, I've got this Jubilee whiskey. Let's all have a dram and raise a glass and the toast to the Queen and everything like this. And there's no smoky element to it that's going to put people off. It's nice and soft and fruity. It's got a little bit of a bite at the end, so it's almost like people know they're drinking whiskey. It's not a liqueur. I think if it didn't have that bite at the end, it would almost come across as a whiskey liqueur. It's so fruity to start with. It's so redolent of a summer fruit trifle, particularly a strawberry trifle to start with, that it would be like, oh, this is almost like a whiskey liqueur. So it's got that bite at the end that it's, oh yes, this is a whiskey. But it's perfectly approachable for pretty much any whiskey drinker, or even people that don't necessarily drink whiskey but like spirits and maybe want to try something to raise a glass to the Queen. So it's kind of done exactly what it needs to do. It's a very, very good quality whiskey that is beautifully packaged for a particular celebration that plenty of people are going to be going for. And fortunately, what's inside the bottle, because there are some, I've seen some Jubilee spirits out there. There's a fairly big gin brand that have done a Jubilee gin, and I've tried it and it's just dull as ditch water. But fortunately, this is a limited edition memorabilia, piece of memorabilia. I was about to say memorabilic thing, but that's not even a word. It's a piece of memorabilia that fortunately, what is inside is very well made, very drinkable, very approachable to a lot of people, and will not offend anybody. And I really like what the English Whisky Company are doing. I've got another bottle of theirs that I'm going to talk about fairly shortly, which personally I think is better than this, but this is still really, really good to be sharing with friends, to be enjoying your celebrations. And if you do want to keep it, it really does look the part as well. So cheers to Liz. Well done for last 70 years. It's 70 years, isn't it? As I say, I'm not a royalist. I've got absolutely no idea. As far as I'm concerned, we're getting an extra day's bank holiday, which I'm having to work. But whatever. It's a good excuse to get together with friends and family and just be together and have some fun. So, if you've got a bottle, I suggest you crack it open. If you haven't got a bottle, that's what it tastes like. Hopefully, you might be able to get your hands on some. Now, what I don't know is going to happen is the 1200 for the UK, obviously, the rest of them have gone overseas. If they don't sell that well overseas, I doubt it, because it's the Queen in the UK and all that lot, so America will probably go crazy for it. But it's possible that some stock might come back and we might be able to get our hands on some more. But at the time of recording, I have none. So you can go on the website if you want, www.spiritspecialist.com. You can look at the picture of it and you can read my blurb about it, but you're not going to be able to buy one because I haven't got any. And having done a quick squiz on the interwebs, there doesn't appear to be anybody that's got any stock left. So unfortunately, I can't sell it to you, but never say never. If you are interested, get in touch. I'll add you to the list because I've got quite a long list of people already that have said, if you get some more in, can you let me know? But who knows, miracles do happen. So that's me done. I shall see you in the next video. Cheers.